before we start the lesson, here is the intended learning outcomes. So at the end of the lesson, you will be able to explain the development of the music in the Philippines. So our lesson is lesson 9, which is all about the development of the music in the Philippines. So to start, the first is about the Spanish period, pre-Spanish period, which is discussed with our groupmate.
Good day everyone, my name is Shimay Ahadin. So my topic is all about the pre-Spanish period. Pre-Spanish period. Filipinos are said to be musical peoples. In most cases, singing is accompanied by dancing. They use also bamboos, canes, palms, leaves, and bark of trees to write their songs and pieces of sharp stick or iron for their pen. Even their instruments were made of bamboo and wood, which indicated their primitiveness. Kaya nila ito sinasabi na primitiveness kasi ito yung fact for being simple and old-fashioned, especially when something is not convenient and comfortable. The next is the function and characteristic. Function, religious, social life. Characteristics, recitative, mostly simply two-note musics. This mostly simply two-note musics is kulintang music and Spanish liturgical music are two distinct musical traditions from the influence extremely different cultures. Example of these are dalot, a song sung by farmers during wedding, baptismal, and other parties accompanied by kutibeng, which is guitar. Pamulinawen is a love song. Dungaw is a song requesting a dead person to be good in his next life. Origin of their music, early Filipinos' music was influenced by trade relations. Other races like Malays, Indonesians, Arab, Chinese, Indo-Chinese, Japanese, and Hindu. Let's proceed to the musical according to their category. Ordinary songs, Diuna, Kalindaw, street songs, Indulamin, Suliranin, Sorrow, Dalit, Umbay, Wedding, Ihiman, Rowing, Tigpasin, Kalusan, Lullaby, Hele Hele, Hili, Oyayi, Iyaya, Success, Baling, Kungkong, Dapayan, Inhiliran, Sambotani, Tagumpay, House, Tingad, General Merrymaking, Kalipay, Counting, Urukay. Musical airs from different regions. Filipino music has grown from the simple two-melody to the music that has become today. The following are the native musics from the different provinces in the Philippines. Bontoc Province, Ayagka, Agusan, Pagpag, Tubob, Bontog, Anaoy. Zambales, Wisel, Davao, Todonan, Sulu, Tungungo, Igorot, Miling Ayoweng, Negros, Kaloy, Benguet, Igorot, Nueva Ecija, Kadumang, Bukidnon, Dilayon, Abra, Diudiwas, Bungka, Batanes, Kalunsan. The last is the forms and origins. Forms. Their songs were more of creative but the melody exudes customs, traditions, and aspiration. Origins. Most of the songs were adapted to other countries who traded with them like Malays, Indonesians, and others. That's all. Thank you. So let's proceed to the next topic.
So good evening everyone. I am Rosemary Andy. I am the next reporter. So this evening we will be tackle the Spanish period. So Spanish period began in 1521. Spaniards came to the Philippines and brought European influence, which marked a beginning of the cultivation of music as a fine art in the Philippines. So, when Spanish period Then, the educational was developed or educational decree of 1863, which provided for establishment of separate parochial schools for boys and girls was promulgated. So, Kastilang Pilipino, the decree provided for formal education of 4 teachers, where vocal music was one of the subjects be taught. So, sacred music was given importance because Christianity was the main goal of Spanish colonization. So, and also, Passion Song was the event leading to the death of Jesus Christ, which became very popular among the peoples or among the years. So, Fray Jeronimo de Aguilar held the distinction of being the first Spanish priest to teach music in the Philippines. So, yan lang muna ang matatakal ko about sa Spanish period. So, let's now move on to the characteristic of the Spanish period. So, in the characteristic of Spanish period, first is more conservative style of sacred music. So, more on sa mga sacred music ang nandun sa pagdating sa music sa Spanish period. So, minor key at beginning shift to major key. In the second half, kundiman. Konto Ilocano, monophonic, unmeasured style annotated utilizing note, shape different than the neurons of Gregorian chart, composition of the Kyrial. So, Canto de Oregano, simple polyphonic settings in 2 or more vocal portraying religiosity and musically salvation of self-expression. So, that's all the characteristic of the music in Spanish period. So, let's now go to the musical forms. So, the musical forms of the Spanish period was the sacred forms. In sacred forms, we have the figure chant music, measured plain song, plain song, 1795, golden age of sacred music. And the last is the passion song. So, when it comes in other musical forms naman, here is the songs and the harana. So, let's go forward to that music. So, in music, there is as a fine art, and also there is also a subject to be taught. So, like example in music. So, like an example in music, we have here the tagulaylay. Tagulaylay, counterpart of lamentation. So, tagulaylay is a melody depicting grief. Comes from the words taghoy. So, taghoy, which means is lament, and alalay, or alalay is a sustain. Sung in monotone. So, lamentation is the counterpart of tagulaylay, which is sung in 2 voice of third and sixth. So, second we have is the palimos. Palimos or sung for beggings. So, palimos is a song of the blind, asking for alms, or in a short, it is a song for begging. So, the third one is the okay, now let's proceed to the song number 3, which is the kumintang. So, kumintang is the or I'm sorry. Kumintang is the oldest most popular song among the Christian and Filipinos. It was a war song. Then later became a plaintive song. It is also a nocturnal song sung to the accompaniment of violin or guitar. So, it also originated in Balayan, Batangas, province of Kumintang. So, So the kumintang is the name given to several distinct style, technique, and form in which music and dance originating in the areas used by early Spanish cartographers and chronicles to denote a large province centering around what is known as Batangas. So in early 19th century, travelers' account often mention the kumintang. So kumintang as a Tagalog, and in English it is a chant national. So describing them as dance and song performed by pairs of men and women with texts concerning love and courtship. So, according to Retana, there are three kinds of kumintang. The first kind of kumintang is the kumintang of the conquest, which means kumintang of the conquest. It was a music of pristine beauty, contiquish, and romantic. The second is kumintang of balayan, which is Tagalog bridal song. The last one is the kumintang with which awit or narrative song are accompanied. So example, La Tagala sung by Jose Estela. Amihan sung by Antonio Molina. The third is Auras del Teruno sung by Juan Hernandez, and the last one is the Pagdili-Dili sung by Lucino Sacramento. So, now let's proceed to the number 4. The number 4 song is the awit. So awit is a recitative written 3/4 time and in minor key. It is a set freely to verse about a Philippines legendary hero or a heroic poems also called awit. So the example of this is the awit by Awit F. Santiago. Ang Ulila by Antonio Molina, Batingaw na Pilag by Antonio Molina, Recuerdo de Filipinas y sus Cantares by Diego Perez. So, let's move on to the number 5. So, Balitaw. Balitaw is a Visayan folk song derived from Malayan word. So, Barita means narrations or balita in Tagalog. So, it is also a dance and a song, the counterpart of kundiman. So, according to Banas, Balitaw is often sung than dances. So in Balitaw, there is 2 classes of Balitaw. So, the first one is the Balitaw Menor. So, it is a Visayan love song. And the second is the Balitaw Mayor. It is also the French slow waltz. So, the Balitaw Mayor is derived from the graceful French slow waltz. So, Visayan Balitaw, counterpart of the Tagalog kundiman. It is lively and possesses more syncopation. Example, sa Kabukiran by Manuel Valles. So, the second is the Tagalog Balitaw, humorous melody and lively European waltz. So, like example, Paru-Parong Bukit and Tinikling. And also the last is Inday sa Balitaw, the originated Balitaw. So, now let's move on to Balitaw Menor or Dansa Menor panghaharana. So, a dance piece composed in minor key. Traditional, it is the Philippines serenade or pananapatan in 2/4 time. It is called Dansa Pilipino. Example, Hating Gabi by Antonio Molina, Sampaguita by Dolores Paterno, Ay Kalisut by Visayan Folk Songs, Bukang Liwayway by Molina Antonio, and the last one is Ti Ayat Ti May Sanga Ubing by Ilocano folk song. So, that is the two kinds of balitaw. The last part is kundiman. So, kundiman came from the words kung hindi man, derived from the lively Spanish bolero, a typical 3/4 waltz. So, Abdon Bonifacio is the father of modern kundiman. Nicanor Abelardo, Francisco Santiago, Kundimans Antonio Molina, who wrote the Immortal. So that's all my report about the Spanish period. So thank you and God bless you all.
Good day everyone, I am Rochelle Joy Garcia. This day, I will discuss to you about the American period. The American period educational system have greatly influenced the Philippine system of music. Education with the treatment of music as a part of a broad pattern of liberal education. With the establishments of conservatories like School of Special Instruction in Music, formal education in music started. Philippine opera evolved from the zarzuela. What doesn't mean? Zarzuela was based on the European metrical tales and set to the familiar Spanish tunes which easily gained approval among the traditional theater-loving Filipinos. All zarzuelas are nationalistic in nature. Here's the examples of zarzuelas. Minda Mora. Minda the Moro Girl. Juan Hernandez. Second is Paibig sa Tinubuang Lupa. Love of Country. Pascuala. And second examples of zarzuelas is Poblete. Tanikalang Ginto. Chain of Gold. Juan Abad. Walang Sugad, No One, Severino Reyes. These are the examples of zarzuelas. Here's the characteristic of American period. First is the American singing through jazz invaded the country. Second is the most of the songs are nationalistic in nature. And third is that instrumental music and local music are both important in this period. And last is the non-commercial. For the music forms is what first is the symphony and the second is the opera or opera buffa. That's all for my topic about American periods. Thank you.
Good day, everyone. I'm Honey J.D. Miranda, the next reporter, and I will report the Japanese occupational period in the year of 1942 to 1945. The Japanese occupational period is have the desire to progress. Nippongo was the common language was a dismissal failure. So the Japanese occupational of the Philippines occurred between 1942 and 1945 when Imperial Japanese occupied the Commonwealth of the Philippines during the World War II. The nation of the Philippines started on the day of 8th of the December started on the December 8th in the year of 1941. Then 10 hours after the attack of the Pearl period. So this Japanese occupational period was the darkest period in the history of the Philippines. So this Japanese occupational period has the classical music that includes opera during the war. But in the history of the Philippines, the Japanese occupational was the darkest history. So let's go to the characteristics of the Japanese occupational period. So the first is they are using pentatonic scale, also have the five note scale or the five tune scale, the musical scale containing five different notes. It is true that it is truth that the pentatonic scale represents an early stage of musical difference because it is found in the different form in the most of the world of the music. So employs the universal material of music organized by rhythm, melody, and tune quality. The next is monophonic. So monophonic is a sound of reproduction using the one channel of transmission. This consisting of a single music line without accompaniment. A sentimental and religious. Up- uplifting, driving, and rollicking. An emotional, poetic, and even somber. The rhythms are based on ma. Ma is a silence important. The tempo usually starts out very slow and gets faster, returns to being slow again, and has a drawn out ending. The next is the forms of Japanese occupational period. So their forms is musical march, symphony, orchestra. So there are only three forms of the music. So the next is the post-liberation period. So this year, the year of post-liberation period is in the year of 1945 to 1946. So the liberation period is the reawakening the reawakening the interest in diverse forms of cultural and manifested the proliferation of in symbols, vocal and instrument, not only in the schools but in the churches, government and private offices, communities, and within the family. It is need for professional growth is evident in holding of in-service training programs, seminars, workshops, and conferences sponsored by schools, government agency, and musical organizations such as in the Philippines, Society for Music Education, and the Philippine National Society for the Music Education. So, in the post-liberation music, in the post-liberation period is the reawakening times. So, this period is like it is more interesting in the music from the schools and other government privacies. So their characteristics. Their characteristics is in vocal and instrumental musics are both important. So emotional and creative. Songs of nobility and nationalism were common in the period. So next is the use of found musics, recorded voices, and shift from the increasingly chromatic surface to more tragic ones. For the reverse, the use of new instrumental combination. So the forms of the post-liberation period is symphony, orchestra, sacred or religious, instrumental soloist. So advance in musical development, nationalism in music, passage of Republic Act 473, Republic Act 4723, and formation of music organizations, and the use of educational television. The nationalism refers to the refers to the use of musical ideas or motifs that are identified with a specific country, region, or ethnic, such as folk tunes and melodies, rhythms, and harmonies inspired by them. So the passage of Republic Act 4723 is about in the passage of Republic Act number 4723 is all about the Philippines that says a popular known of music law, which provided the teaching of music and art as a separate subject in the elementary level and the teaching of music once a week for 1 hour in the secondary level. So this is according to Yamzon in 1972.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Ericalyn Sebastian, and I will be discussing about the Philippine modern music and the Philippine rock music. Philippine modern music. Original Filipino music, now are more commonly termed original Pinoy music or original Philippine music, called by mostly or known as OPM. So originally referred only to the Philippine pop songs, especially those in ballad form. Having successfully created a subgenre of the Philippine rock they called Bis rock. So Bis rock means it is a Pinoy rock which propagate by Cebu rock music or comes from the blended form Cebuano words Bisaya. So as referring to the Visayan languages. The Visayans by far have their biggest collection of modern music in their native language. So if you want to know more about Bis rock, these are some songs that from Bis rock. Chinita, Charing, Bisan Pa, Tahong ni Carla, at Inday. So there's a lot more songs of Bis rock, so you could search from. So those are just some of the example of Bis rock. So inspired by what local call Kapampangan cultural renaissance. Angeles City-born balladeer Ronnie Liang rendered Kapampangan translation of some of his popular songs such as Aili or the Kapampangan version of Ngiti and Ika, Kapampangan version of Ikaw for his repackaged album. So I will give you a short of the music of Ronnie Liang, the titled Ika or Ikaw.
buhay, ikaw, ikaw mo king isip ko, laman ng puso ko, ikaw, ing liguran ko.
So that's it. Ika or Ikaw of Ronnie Liang. So here, the best-selling albums. Number 1 is The Christmas in Our Hearts, 1990 by Jose Marie Chan. This is a 20 times platinum. Number 2 is Constant Change of 1989, Jose Marie Chan, 10 times platinum. And Caterpillar, 1995 by Eraserheads, 10 times platinum. And Nina Live, 2000 by Nina, and it's 8 times platinum. And Forevermore, EP by 1995 by Slide A, 8 times platinum. And number 6, Paraiso, 1991 by Smoky Mountain, 8 times platinum. And the Smoky Mountain, 1989, 8 times platinum. And the 8 Halik, 2000 by Ages, it is 7 times platinum. Number 9, 10 Years Together in 1980 by Apo Hiking Society, and it is 7 times platinum. Number 10, Habang May Buhay in 1995 by Donna Cruz, and it is 7 times platinum. So these are 10's best-selling albums. You may also share or suggest some of your best OPM in the comment section. So let's proceed to Philippine rock music. Juan de la Cruz Band, a garage rock and a blues rock. An influence group consisting of guitarist Wally Gonzalez, the bassist Mike Hanupol, and the drummer Pepe Smith. They are often credited for ushering the first rock and roll revolution in the Philippines that lasted from the late 60s to the late 70s. Or it is also known as the golden age of Pinoy rock, considered by many to the grandfathers of Pinoy rock. The most notable achievement in the Philippines rock of the 60s was the hit Killer Joe, which propelled the group Rocky Fillers, which reached the number 16 on the American radio charts. So, what just you heard is The Killer Joe by Rocky Fillers. So let's proceed. Folk rock became the Philippine protest music of the 1980s, and Aguilar's Bayan Ko or My Country became popular as the anthem during the 1986 EDSA revolution. But at the same time, a counterculture rejected the rise of politically focused lyrics. So Bayan Ko is one of the most recognizable patriotic song of the Philippines, as it became a second unofficial national anthem because it focused on how Philippines was taken over because of its beauty and splendor, and how it will soon gain back its freedom for the people and the country. Also, it is the expression of Filipino who protest. Characteristics: Philippine rock musicians added folk music and other influences. Pop rock groups became more popular among teens. The neo-traditional genre in the Philippines, music is also gaining popularity. The vocal music is more important than instrumental music, an aim of appealing to a general audience rather than to a particular subculture or ideology. An emphasis on recording, production, and technology over a live performance. So that's all. Thank you.